Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm just recording this as a short introduction to the video that you're about to watch, which is about this machine that you can see in front of you here. It's a skill with prizes machine by Emptier called Spellbound. And the reason I am recording this intro for the start of this video is that this was the last video that I had completed before I found out that Chris had died. This video was all recorded, it was edited, it was rendered out. In actual fact, it had just about finished uploading when I read the thread over at Desert Island Fruits last Sunday, the saddest day, and then of course found out that Chris had passed on. So at that point I cancelled the upload. It had very nearly finished. The video would have probably been live with about an hour and a half or so, depending on how long YouTube wanted to crunch it for on the processing phase of things. But obviously all plans were cancelled at that point, and I've just done the 2 videos in the previous week dedicated to Chris. However, on that point, of course, as per the previous video, we have, I think, decided, or certainly everyone that I can see from over at Desert Island Fruits, we have now decided to carry on as a scene. And from my part, from my perspective, my little bit, it's not much, but I will continue to make my videos and keep Fruit Machine emulation living as much as I can through what it is I do. I can't code, I don't develop layouts, I have zero artistic ability, but the one thing that I can do is make these videos. However, like I say, the reason I'm recording this is just because if you watch the video and then think, well, Degsy's got himself back to usual very quickly, it's like nothing's fucking happened. Well, that's because this whole video, apart from this intro, was all finished prior to me finding out that Chris had passed on. And I will continue. There will be more videos on the channel going forward, but I thought I may as well get this one out there because it had already been done. It had already been completed. And before we go into the main video itself, I will just say, and following on from the previous video, Wizard's niece there, Amy, she actually joined up over at Desert Island Fruits, and she has posted as well. You can read her post on the screen there in front of you. And it has been, we've had 2 of his family members now. We've had one of his cousins and one of his nieces who have both signed up over at Desert Island Fruits and posted. And as I said in the previous video, they have found out about what it was that Chris had done. And for my part, I would like to keep that alive and do my little bit to keep Fruit Machine emulation alive. So this video was already done, it was already all finished off. It would have got, another hour and a half, 2 hours, it would have probably already been published last Sunday. But of course, I saw the thread over at Desert Island Fruits, the saddest day, and at that point, of course, there was no one was going to publish a video, a normal video at that point. So we'll go with this one for now. Like I say, it was done, it was ready, it was ready to go. But I will continue and will have some more videos in due course. But I did just want to make a point of tacking this onto the front of this video, just so you understand that this was recorded. This is the very last video that I made before learning about the fact that Chris had passed. So every video on the channel from this point forward will be made with that knowledge that Chris has left us. But also, as per the previous video, his scene will continue. The scene that he made possible will continue. And I will do my little bit with my channel here to keep Fruit Machine emulation alive, or do what I can to help keep Fruit Machine emulation alive. I hope you enjoy this video.
It's there! Moly, this one's going to go big.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. So then we've got an emptiable skill with prizes machine here. So we're going to take a look at it. In this video, I'll show you the emptier in action and I'll go into some of the details behind the game itself. It's quite an interesting one, this, and I only became aware of it because of the thread over at Desert Island Fruits. You can see there it was released 10 days ago as I make this video by Geddy. over at Desert Island Fruit. So thank you to Geddy and mystery person released on behalf of question mark. So whoever that is, thank you to them. Now, I've got to be honest with you, there are so many releases. This one probably wouldn't have come on my radar. There are so many layouts that get released on a regular basis these days. It's kind of impossible to keep up with them all. So this probably wouldn't have come on my radar. However, it turns out that there was an emptier on it, and that there was a guy here, Logopolis. If you remember, Logopolis was the guy who worked out the iceberger trap for the video a couple of weeks ago. So he mentioned that he could empty this, or rather, this can be emptied if you learn the answers. And going through the thread there, following it through, it kind of piqued my interest, and I had a go at it myself and realised that there was indeed something slightly strange going on with it. And the thing is, when it comes to skill with prizes machines, there is a playlist on my channel. There's only 4 videos in there at the minute, but there will be another one, because this will be the 5th video on skill with prizes that will go onto this playlist. But one thing that all 4 of these games have in common here, we've got a prize Space Invaders, 2 Crystal Maze videos, one of the original ones and one of the later ones, and a game called The Mating Game. Now, one thing that all 4 of those machines had in common, and indeed something that skill with prizes machines in general have in common, is that when they don't want to pay, they can basically cheat you. The whole skill with prizes things is basically a crock of shit. And me and my friends learned this very early on. When we first started going to the pub in 1991, we started going to the pub in Anger. The skill with prizes machines, so some of the earlier ones, I mean, these are a little bit later on, but some of the early ones, you know, the question-based ones, they were in pubs, and, you know, you would see them, they would have skill written on them in big letters, and they'd make a big play of the fact that they were skill with prizes machines. And me and my mates thought, well, you know, none of us are idiots. Between the 3 of us, or the 4 of us, we should be able to make some money out of these. And we very quickly learned that when they don't want to pay, they don't want to pay. Whatever mechanism it may be that they have of controlling their payout. Because remember, they are set to a percentage. They do have a target percentage, the same as fruit machines do, and often a lot lower than fruit machines. SWPs can be set down to 40-50%, terrible percentages like that. So, I mean, we learned like 30 years ago that really, even though on paper you can always win on them, in reality they can make it essentially impossible when they want to. And with these examples here, so price Space Invaders, as I covered in that video, it can give you a ridiculous score that you need to get. It can give you damn near impossible waves of invaders to cope with. One of the invaders can do a super fast shot that's basically impossible to dodge. Crystal Maze, of course, would limit the number of gold tokens that it gave you in the final game. If we just fire this one up here. Now, I do actually get the 5 out of it on the second player, and in the dome here, you can see there's loads of gold in the dome there. Oh, well done, Degs. That's when I just dragged the thing. The point with the Crystal Mazes, particularly on that later revision, is that I do believe it could make it impossible. Because of that grabby hand thing there was so inaccurate. You knew as soon as it threw the dome up, you could just see there's no way that you could get, even though there were technically always more than 50 gold tokens in the dome, it could do it in such a fashion that there was just over 50. It was impossible to be accurate with that grabby hand. When it didn't want to pay, you couldn't win on it. And the mating game could essentially pull the same trick on you by limiting the number of red hearts that are in the final game. Now, there was one that I wanted to have a look at, but unfortunately I'm actually remoted onto a PC upstairs here. So what I'll do is I'll overlay some footage that I'll create. It doesn't work when you try and launch it over a remote connection. You get a direct 3D error. But this is a game called Hangman by JPM, and this has a multitude of ways that it can control how it pays out. So not only do you have to guess the letters in the puzzle, every time you guess a letter correctly, you still have to answer a question, and it does it in a points-based system. You have to get a certain number of points to get to a cash prize. You only get 2 wrong answers on the questions, and when you fill the hangman in, you die. So when that fella there wants you not to win, it has a way of doing it. And this is very, very common with, there's another one here called Quiz Vaders by B. You can see that's a BFM one from 1991. I remember that being in pubs back in the day. And that could do the same kind of thing. It would basically just put the score that you needed to get a prize completely out of reach. So the point that I'm getting at here, skill with prizes machines pretty much always have a way to make sure that they can fuck you off. Despite the fact they're called skill with prizes machines, they basically have enough levers to pull to make sure that you're not going to win when they don't want you to. And you can probably guess where I'm going with this, and that is to say that this game here, Spellbound, doesn't seem to have a way to do it, and I will show you that in this video. So what we'll do to start with is we'll just have an actual proper game on it. Now, I've got 2 copies of it running here. The one on the left-hand side is way over percentage. The one on the right-hand side is way under percentage. So what we're going to do is we are going to play normally. What I'll do for the emptier, I'll show you what we're going to do for the emptier, but I'll show you how the game works when you're not when there's no shenanigans going on. So basically, you pick a category from here, and then you've got to guess. Oh, we'll certainly take a bonus there if we can get a bonus. Then basically, you press the hold button. So we've got I don't know, for vowels are usually a good. I'm not very good at hangman games. Oh, I didn't. Okay, so do you think there's an A in there? Nice one. But you can see here that when you... Oh, there's no I in there. You can see here that you don't have to answer... So we know there's no I in there already. Bugsy Malone, that looks like to me. Do we think that's Bugsy Malone? I think that's Bugsy Malone. So, there we are. Reject. There's none of them in... Yeah, so you can see that I can press reject. If I don't think... Bugsy Malone. Now, that's none in there. If I don't think any of the letters are in there, I can press reject. So it's hold 1, 2, and 3. Oh, hang on, Bugsy Malone. What did I get wrong then? Is it not Bugsy Malone? Hang on a minute. What's that? What is it? Oh, sorry, that's a G. That's a G, isn't it? Stupid. I was thinking it was a bloody C. Sorry. That's so yeah, it is. Yeah, so we've got an S in there. Come on, Degsy, for fuck's sake. So all we need now is a Y, and it's given it us there. So what we've got one right, and you can see there that we haven't got any money yet. We've got to get at least 5 puzzles right. 5 letters with a oh fuck. There's no O in there, so let's remember that. I don't know. L? Oh, no. Left arm gone. I'm running out of lives here. E. Good. Grape? Grape, maybe? Yeah, grape. Is that... I think that's grape. There we are. So, now we just need a G. So there's nothing in there. And there we are. G for grape. There we are. Yes, okay. So you see there, we get... So we filled up the next one. We need to get 2 more for a bonus game, and then we need to get what? Horse. You can see. Oh no, it's not horse. Oh, yeah. Why did I pick? Why? I should have gone for another vowel, really, shouldn't I? Let's go. Yeah, I should have gone for an E. Hell, bird. Hey, why can heron? It's going to be heron, isn't it? Fucking hell, Degsy, get your fucking head on. So nothing in there. I think it's going to be heron. Yeah, there we are. So we'll go for N, and then we'll get an R. Okay, one more puzzle, and we get a bonus game, which is basically money back. Just get a free game. We'll go for an I. What are we on? Fruit and veg. Let's get a vowel. It always start with. What's that? A. I feel like I should be able to get. It's not going to be another vowel in there, is there? Sure. No, that was. Why can I not see what that is? I should be able... P. Fuck. Head gone, I wonder what it was. Ah, well, we've lost. I should have been able to get that one. So there we go. You can see how the game works. So then, how do you actually empty it? Well, there's no real method as such. The way that you empty this is you actually learn enough of the answers to be able to do it. And to give you an idea of what kind of endeavour that represents, you can see here that these are some of the questions that Logopolis had recorded in a Word document just for the sports and games category. And if you can believe it, he actually got enough of these things in his head to be able to empty the machine. Now, I have nowhere near enough the skills or the memory to do that. But what we can do within the emulator, and this is where it gets really interesting, and it was Dugster who found this over at Desert Island Fruits. Using our friend the debug memory, we can actually use the debug location to look at the memory location. We can go to debug main board, and then it's this address here from external RAM, and you can actually see what the answer is to the question. So the bit that we're looking at, can you see down here you've got the at and the X. It's the letters after the X there. So in that case there, it's actually Cambodia. That was the last question in the last game. I did actually just do another game off camera there to clear the other credits. So that's not the last question that you just saw in the video. So what we can do here is kind of replicate what Logopolis actually did in his own head and remembering the answers, and we can see what the answers are by looking at this memory location in the machine. Now, the ROMs themselves actually appear to be encrypted or at least obfuscated. That's to say that the answers are not stored in plain text in the ROM. You cannot dump the ROMs and just get like a text list of what the answers are. So Empire have gone to the trouble to kind of cover things up in that regard. But what the machine has to do, and if you think about it, it makes sense. When it's got an active puzzle, it has to be storing that somewhere in RAM. And Dugster here has found the RAM location that it stores the answer at. So on this machine here on the right hand side, which is, remember, this is the one that's way behind percentage and really wants to give us 50 quid, what we'll do here is kick it off again, but this time we're going to cheat. So what you'll see here, just look where it says Cambodia down there, and it'll change once we select a category. It's Alan Border. Can you see there? So now this, as you can imagine, this makes it rather easier. Alan Border. And what we'll do here is we always take a mystery if we get offered one. Bonus letters. There we are. Oh, and that'll pretty much finish this one off, I think, will it? Yeah, there we are. So that has finished the first puzzle. Now what's going to happen? And have a look. Slovakia. You can see there that we've got Slovakia. And obviously we will take the mystery there. Bonus vowels. And all we need to do here is take it out to the Slovakia, yeah. There we are. So we just S and L we're looking for now, aren't we? S and L. We'll take a mystery when we get offered a mystery, of course. Skill letters. So we may as well. Now, if you have a look at the thread over at Desert Island Fruits, Logopolis actually has an optimal way to play this on some of the bonuses that he worked out for himself. Easy Rider, you can. That's a reject, isn't it? I think. Yeah. There are certain things that you haven't got the benefit of seeing. Easy Rider, yes, of course. That's probably talking and Easy Rider, looking at the same time. I can still fuck this up. Easy, yes, there we are. Oh no, sorry, I pressed the, see what I mean? I pressed the wrong bloody one there. I pressed 1 when I wanted to press 3. D for Rider. And now we just want an R, don't we? That's the only one we've got left. So we're 1 away from... So have a look, it's going to change again. And we've got Seattle. So that's a reject, isn't it? And that'll be a click there. T is certainly in Seattle. So now we just want an S and an A, don't we? S and an A. We'll certainly take a mystery. And one thing to look at here, of course, is how fast the countdown is going. So we've got a bonus game now. So we can collect the win at that point, or we can carry on. And so we choose a category, look down there. It's going to be Cumberland Pie. Can you see there? We're still getting, look at the, if you look at the timer there, just pay attention, Cumberland. I'm going to pause there so you can see how long we're getting. It's not a huge amount of time, but so Cumberland Pie, that's a reject, isn't it? Yes. Cumberland, yes, Alpha, of course. Cumberland, yeah, there we go. Yeah, and see the timer remains consistent for the entirety of each puzzle, but it will get faster as we go up the cash prizes. So this is what I was saying. Yeah, this is where there is an optimal strategy for using the bonuses and using the like the skill letters and trying to save things over for when they're more useful to you. Basically, we don't have to worry about that for this video, but that was there we are. Yeah, that was something that Logopolis mentioned that he did on the real machine. And hey presto, that finishes the... Oh no, it's a hint, sorry, yeah. One of them, which is... That's a reject. You can see there, it will actually give us the right answers here for a number of choices. We've got 2 more hints left, and then it'll give us a hint on that. I think that's magic completes the phrase. So there's £2. We're going to carry on. So choose category. Watch the phrase is going to change there. Music, and we have got ABC now. So that's a read. Can you see there the timer, by the way? Remember that we're going for a 5 now. That's going to be a reject as well. It's still giving us a decent amount of time, so we just want an A and a C here, don't we? A, B, C. There we are. So we've got a 5. So now we go into carry on and go for a 10. Have a look at the phrase. We'll change there. Gammon and egg. That will be a... Yeah, that's going to be there. Gammon and egg. And I'll just give you... Let's see, you see there, the timer is still not really hustling, is it? It's still giving us a decent amount of time to do it. Gammon. Yeah, there we are. Gammon and egg. So there's an M. And now we just need a D, don't we? There we are. And now we're going to go for £20 and just, again, have a look at the phrase here. Olive. Oh, that's nice and easy, isn't it? And again with the timer, it's still giving us a really generous amount of time here. Oh, just by the way, the £10 and £20 lights have got the same lamp number, which is why they lamp simultaneous. I think it's just a little error on the layout there. Don't worry, but it doesn't change her function of the game. So we need to know. Just have a look there on the £20 question, how much time it's giving us. And that's £20. And now we're going to go for the £50 cash jackpot. One more time, we'll look at the category, music, Bananarama. And look at, we're on the £50 question here. So this is for a jackpot, and you can see it is being pretty generous with the timer here. I have used autoplay to get about £250 through this and haven't collected anything. And because they are essentially compensated, it will make it, and there's one more to go, it will want to make it easy for us to get the jackpot. There we are. So that is the £50 jackpot. And that is on a machine that really wanted to give us the £50 because it was way behind percentage and I had used autoplay to get a lot of money through it. And we will collect our £50 out. Now, when I was getting ready to do this video, or rather once I decided to do a video about this machine, what I then did was do a RAM clear on it, do a factory reset on it, and my prediction was that it was effectively going to make it impossible to win. As I mentioned at the start of this video, with these machines here and the ones that I just brought up in MAME there, my prediction was that it was effectively going to make it impossible to win the 50 quid from a factory reset. But to my surprise, once I had the debug window open, it actually made it fairly... I mean, as you can imagine if you can see the answer, but I was expecting it to pull all kinds of cheaty shit. But from a RAM clear, when it had no money in it, it let me get 50 quid. So I thought, well, that's a bit surprising. I'm valuing it from a RAM reset. I wasn't expecting that. Oh, thank you, Windows, you fucking useless fucking... I wasn't expecting it. I thought, okay, so it's got a little bit of value in it from a RAM reset. Fair enough. However, it then let me carry on winning to the point that, have a look at this one on the left-hand side here. I have put £12 into this and taken £223 out of it, and it's running at 1,858%. So that was when I went back to the thread, asked a couple more questions, and kind of fully understood what Logopolis was saying here, that if you were good enough, it was absolutely a full empty. And what he said was the only thing that stopped him was the lack of money in the machine. It was only the fact that he had to leave some money in the machine that had him stop playing it, because left with an infinite hopper, he could take money out of it infinitely. So what I'll show you now is we'll try and do that again on this one here, but look at the stats on this. This is the one that's only had £12 in, paid out 223 quid, and he's running at nearly 2,000% payout. So what we'll do is we'll put a quid into this one. We'll start the game. We've got our memory location mapped there. So watch it fill in when we get an answer. So bacon and egg. And have a look at the timer, by the way. The thing to have a look at here is the timer. Now, we're kind of in the safe zone here as far as the machine is concerned. Bacon and egg. There we're kind of in the safe zone here because it's not... we're not at risk of any cash prize here. That's the thing. I would certainly take a mystery. Bonus letters. Oh, crikey, that'll near enough. Yeah, that'll fill it up. I was about to say that'll nearly finish it up. So there we are. So we've got our first answer, and the Seymour. Some of these names are a little bit sketchy. So Seymour, yes, we've got and we'll have that's a reject, isn't it? Yeah. We'll certainly have a bonus. Eliminator, that's not hugely useful. Certainly have that there. And yes, we'll have an S. And we'll have that there. I mean, you can kind of understand it not being too worried that's a reject, isn't it? C, yeah. Not being too worried at the moment because we're not into the cash prizes. So we are just looking for a Y now. No, reject. And there we are. So we're now 2 away from getting a bonus game. Let's choose the category, and the answer is hope. So that's fairly straightforward. And there. So we actually need a H and an O. One thing that Logopolis did say, and you saw it there, is if it does a really long spin on the reels, it probably means that there's no letter. And if you see a really long spin, it basically means it's a reject. So we're now 1 away from getting our money back. So we are into actual prize territory here. Linus as a boy's name. You can see it in the debug window. Yeah. And then we'll do, yeah. And then... But look at the speed it's going at. It's not going that fast, is it? It really isn't going that fast. So let's just have a look here. You can... So I'll give it a little bit of time to count down. Look at the countdown timer there. It's not really going that fast. Even though we are getting into something of value here. That's a reject, isn't it? And then that... Oh, no, S, sorry. Yeah, that's at the end. So we just want an L now. So he's given us that. I mean, he's given that fairly easily, hasn't it? So now we're going on for a cash prize. And the answer is DJ What the fuck is that? DJ Bout. What? What the fucking hell is that? Digiboo. There we are. What the fuck is that? That is a... God, it's got some weird ones in it, hasn't it? I have no idea how you even pronounce that. What? What did I get wrong there? DJ back. Okay, what the fuck is that? How am I getting this wrong here when I can see it? There's no... Yeah, that's a reject. We'll certainly take a mystery, but I don't even know. Oh god, we've saved our bonus game. Why can I not... This happens sometime. I'm being daft here. Oh, there's the B. There's the B in there. Sorry, I'm being daft here, aren't I? I'm being really daft. T. Sorry, I was trying to concentrate. U. And that looked like a long spin to me. Oh, B, E. Oh, there's a B. It's the B again. Why am I... I've got B blindness, haven't I? Yeah, there we are. That was a... Sorry, I really... Djibouti. Fucking hell. I used a few lives there. Let's go on to the next one. Let's get the mouse pointer out of the way. Roma. Look at the speed there. It's still not going that fast, is it? I really screwed up on the last one. That was very annoying. But the surprising thing to me... I'll do a reject on that, but just want you to have a look at that. It's still giving us quite a lot of time. And those meters are correct. We can go in and look at the machine's internal meters, and those meters are actually correct. So we're just waiting for an R now. It really fucked me with that Djibouti, whatever the fuck it is. Right, okay, so a cash prize of a £5. We'll carry on. Ahmed. So that's a fairly straight... Now you can see there, it is getting faster. Look at the timer there. It is hustling a little bit more. Certainly far more than it was doing on the other one, which was in a happy mood. It's not giving us any letters here, is it? It's giving us a lot of duffs. So we've got that one there. I don't know how many lives I've got left either. Probably not that many. That's nice and easy. And we just need a H and a D. I'm not getting much time to do it, but you still get a few seconds to think. We just want a H there to finish it off. See there? Yeah, not too bad in terms of time. So we've now got... It's given us a tenner. And it's running at nearly 2,000%. Let's go to the next one. Let's watch it change. Messiah... What? Messine. What the fuck is... that's in there. Messiah, I think it's a musical... what is it? See there at the timer, it is fairly hustling a bit now, but not as much as you might expect. So now we just need an M and an N. Look at the timer there. So I just need an M and an N at this point. Bearing in mind that we're going for 20 quid here. Now we just need an M. So we're going to do a reject on that. Just let you have a look at the timer going down. And then, so that's finishing it off. So now we have got 20 quid. Let's go for the 50, and you will see it hustling on the 50 here. Let's hope it doesn't give me a horrible, horrible word. Casula. Look at the look at the timer there. It's not giving us very long at all. Is it? Oh, well, was there one in there? Fuck, I got that wrong. Casul. That was a long spin there. You saw that was a long spin. Fucking hell, it is going a bit now. That's a reject. God almighty, you don't get long. That's a reject, isn't it? That's a reject, isn't it? It is going a bit. K, L is in there. U is in there. That's a reject, isn't it? And that's a reject. That's a reject. That was close as well. Casul, yeah, there we are. So we need a CS. Yeah, S is in there. So it's C. Oh, T. It's C and T, isn't it? Sorry, I fucked up. C and T. We need a C and a T. It's a cassoulet, isn't it? Cassoulet. Fucking hell, Degsy. C and T. Then, so we just need a C now for 50 quid. There it is, and we've got we've got the £50 charity. God Almighty. Made that hard for myself, but we've actually managed to get the 50 quid out of it. So this is a machine that's running ridiculously over percentage, and it has let us get the £50 jackpot out of it. Just about. I was making heavy weather of that, but we have got the 50 quid. Let's collect that out. And you can see there that has thrown the percentage, the long-term stats on this at a 2,092%. Now, I appreciate that this would just be kind of an academic exercise, because there's part of you would be forgiven for saying, well, that's not incredibly impressive, Degsy. You can empty a question and answer machine if you can see the answers. But my point is that other skill with prizes machines over the years have literally made it impossible, whilst it's theoretically possible on paper, so that they're not falling afoul of the legislation to call themselves skill with prizes. We do actually have a verified case of somebody who was emptying these things in the wild. He got good enough, he got enough of the answers in his head to be able to win. Now, I will put a link to this thread in the video description of this, because Logopolis goes into a little bit more detail about how to use the bonuses correctly. There was a little stake switch trick that could get you a cheap game. And what he also says, that sometimes the best thing to do was just take a smaller prize, and if it had given you a load of shitty ones and you'd got to like a £5 and you only had like 2 extra lives left or something like that, and you knew it was going to be really fast, you would just take a £5, so you'd win like 4 quid on that game, and then you'd try and go again. So you wouldn't just keep taking the 50 quid out. He's very, very clear about that it was not just, and you saw how it did want to kill me there on 50 quid. You saw how fast it was going. So he played it in quite a clever fashion. Maximum use of the bonuses, not always going for the big cash prizes. You know, sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. Just take a smaller cash prize. And he does go into some really nice detail there about how he actually played it. But the real interesting thing about this for me is that the machine allows itself to constantly have these wins taken out of it. And this is kind of the point that I was making over at Desert Island Fruits about this here, is that if you think about it, there's a number of things that it could do within the constraints that it has to make it harder work for you. You saw it there on the game there, on the one that we just got the 50 quid out, the one that didn't want to pay out. It does have some really stinky answers that it can pull, and Logopolis does say that it definitely has different pools that it can go into in terms of sort of easy, medium and hard. It also has some really sneaky ones, like there's a boy's name one, which is 5 letters with EVIN, and you'd think Kevin, but it's actually Devin. That kind of thing. So it definitely has stuff that it can do. It can increase the speed that it goes at. It can increase the number of stinky questions that it gives you. But there are some things that are fixed, and this is where I think Empire have kind of gone wrong with this. Whilst it is true to say that Empire probably never expected anyone to get as good at this as Logopolis did. But fact of the matter is, if there was one person emptying these, and there was probably more than one, I mean, I absolutely doff my cap to him. There's no way on earth that I could ever get good enough at this and have enough of those answers in my head to be able to actually empty this thing. But So like I say, I really cannot give Logopolis enough credit, but I am still surprised that Empire designed a game that didn't have the ability to protect itself. And the things that, if you think about it, the things that are fixed on this, first of all, You are only ever 9 questions or 9 puzzles away from the jackpot. If you look at the trail here, it can't vary this. Not like the other games that, you know, Crystal Maze reducing the number of gold tickets, or the JPM Hangman game that can give you ridiculous scores needed to get to just the first cash prize, just to get a quid when it wants to. That JPM Hangman one can give you a ridiculous score required just to get to a quid, as well as making you answer questions for every single letter. It's not just on, like on this one, where you've got to guess the right letter. So it can't vary that. It's only ever 9 questions for a jackpot. So that's kind of error number 1, I think. The other thing is it gives you 8 extra lives. You can see there, it never varies this. Even on that machine there, it gave me the full suite of extra lives. One thing that it could do, even with the design of the machine as is if it really didn't want to pay, it could start with like most of this scarecrow filled in and just say you have 3 extra lives or something like that. But it doesn't even do that. And the things that I list here, in the way that this machine doesn't protect itself, first of all, it doesn't always pick horrible answers. You saw that on that last 50 quid that we got. It did pick a couple of shit ones, but some of them were really quite easy as well. Number 2 there is how fast it counts down. Now, you saw it was hustling. It really was hustling on the £50 one, but that is as fast as it can go. When you saw how fast it was going on the 10 quid and the 20 quid, it wasn't really that fast. That is the maximum speed that it will go to. It's only the 50 quid that really gets ridiculously fast. Number 3 that I list there is how quickly it'll cave in giving the correct letters. That is to say, it won't keep you hanging on for too long. It will give you a few reject spins, but it could do it more than it does. I've just covered that, the fact that it only ever takes 8 or 9 correct answers to get to £20 or £50, and indeed the high fixed number of wrong guesses that are allowed on the scarecrow itself. And I kind of likened it a little bit to an SWP version of Real Steel. Now, if you remember, that was an Empire machine as well. That £70 AWP, there's a video on the channel, I'll put a link in the description, where they put a Donned game on it that always offers you a £70 box. And as I say there, it practically seems to be begging for someone to get good enough at it to empty it. And Logopolis here reporting from playing the real machine, saying it never got to the point where it was impossible to profit from. Therefore, when the hopper got low, I had to be really careful not to bank it. In the end, I got a £40 jackpot from the red game, and I banked the machine for £30. There was nothing I could do about it, i.e. he ran it empty, and that was the end of that one. And there were different stake and prize combinations, by the way. He was playing one on a £40 jackpot there. I also asked Logopolis what got it onto his radar, and he was saying that he was already making a few quid on Hex Appeal or the Paragon on IT boxes, but of course that game can push back the cash prizes to the point where you might have to get 30 plus answers correct. So when I played this, I realised that it probably can't protect itself from paying out the high cash prizes because it's fixed at 9 correct answers for the jackpot. And he says there, your other points above are correct. The amount of wrong guesses allowed is favourable, plus it's possible to win back lives from the question mark reel. Also, if you just focus on remembering those really hard answers, then the easier answers should just come to mind. And what he also mentioned is that it doesn't have that many answers in the hard category. So even though there are some absolute stinkers in there, it doesn't seem to have that many of them. So once you start learning the hard answer pools, you don't have to keep too many of those in your head. And Dougster here making a reasonable point. From Empire's point of view, they probably thought that players would never overcome a combination of obscure phrases, dead spins and fast timers. Remember, you've got to survive all of this with just 8 lives, though of course bonuses do help. To get to a point where you had an edge on the machine would take a huge amount of time and effort, and I'm impressed that someone did it at all. I completely agree with that. I am hugely impressed that Logopolis was able to turn these into a real money earner, and not just in the way that I used to make money out, because I said in these videos here that Crystal Maze and the mating game were good money earners for me, but with the caveat that sometimes they were just dead and you had to walk away because you couldn't take anything out of them. Whereas Logopolis has got good enough at these things that they are at he can have them where even in the worst possible mood, which that one is there, where it's pulling the horrible answers and it's going as fast as it can, he could still make money on it, which is a huge achievement. But I maintain that Empire fucked up on the design of this one. I think that the real howler on this is fixing the number of answers that are required to get into the cash prizes, and it has no way of modifying that. And as I note there, because a few people around, we had a nice little chat about this machine. And one of the things that because I spent a little bit of time playing around with this, of course, prior to making the video. And as I say there, it does have hard answer pools, but it doesn't use them nearly as ruthlessly as it could do. I think we just saw that. Even with it running at something crackers like an 1850% payout, I've had it pick a piss easy 5-letter word for the £20 cash prize, stuff like that. And just so you're aware, these were real machines. They were out and about there. And thank you to Johnny AFC there, because I asked about what date it was, because I got this wrong. Looking at the cabinet it's been rebuilt into, this is obviously an MPU5 rebuild. I pegged this at maybe 2003, something like that. The Empire 2003, 2004 maybe. But Johnny AFC found a listing over at Fruitemu where we have it listed as a 2008 game. It was originally released in 2008. You can see there, so it was quite a late rebuild into that cabinet, but this was a real thing. It was out and about on site. Logopolis had a couple of these in the wild that he made money out of. We have got evidence of one being sold over at Fruitemu as well. And one thing it never does, by the way, is cheat. That was a suspicion that some people had about this, that it might deliberately flick the answer. So that Kevin and Devin example that I gave there, or just doing a complete switcheroo, as George JG suggests there. It could show up any 4-letter name, say Judy for a girl, and say the player happens to pick a letter in Judy. Well, nope, that's shown as a wrong guess, and now the name is L, etc. Well, it doesn't do that, and I can verify that. Other people over at Desert Island Fruits have verified that. It doesn't outright cheat. The answer is always the one that is shown at that location there. It never does a switcheroo on you. Now, if you remember, I did another fucking Empire machine. It's starting to become a bit of a theme here. If you remember that blatant cheating box video that I did, whereby it flicked the results of the boxes after you'd chosen to make it look like you picked the wrong one, which is very sneaky. But this doesn't do that. It never cheats. The phrase that it has in that RAM location there is always the phrase that it is revealed to be. So it doesn't resort to outright trickery. So there you go. I found this one interesting. And like I said, this video didn't go in the direction that I was expecting it to, because when I went to the one with the RAM clear, I was expecting it to be in a foul mood and pull all manner of shit to stop me from winning. The main one that I was kind of expecting it to do was just for the timer to go so ridiculously fast that you had no time to respond to it. But you saw there, even when it's way, way, way behind, ridiculously behind percentage, the fucking thing's running at 2,092%. So it's absolutely maxed out on all of its parameters there. Everything that it does to try and stop you winning, you saw in that game there, and I was still able to get the 50 quid out of it. Admittedly, I could see the answer, but Logopolis got good enough at this thing to be able to do it for real. And I was just surprised. It really surprised me that I was able to just keep winning and winning and winning on this, because generally speaking, with skill with prizes, my experience with skill with prizes over the machines, and with my friends right back in the day when we learned the hard way very early on that they're basically cheating bastards when they want to be. Doesn't mean that you can't play them and find them entertaining, but really they are just compensated machines, the same as fruit machines in some regard. And the skill side of things is really a little bit overstated, I think. So the fact that you've got one here that can genuinely be done endlessly if you are skillful enough is surprising to me, because, for example, that crystal maze there, the one in that video, I genuinely believe that makes it impossible to get the fiver out of it when it doesn't want you to get it. So something of a curiosity there. Thank you very much to everyone over at Desert Island Fruits who inputted to this thread. Really been quite an interesting one. And of course to Geddy for bringing us the layout in the first place. And of course to Wizard for the emulator itself. It's another one of these that's turned into an interesting little community sort of project, if you will, and it's one of those that I would have not been aware of. Were it not for this thread over at Desert Island Fruits and the fact that we got chatting about it, I would have had no idea about this one, and it would have just gone under my radar as a layout release that probably, let's be honest, I wasn't particularly going to spend any time on. So I'll wrap this video up now. Fascinating little machine. By all means, grab it from over at Desert Island Fruits. Have a play around with it yourself. The details of how to get that debug window up and get yourself to the... Oh, I just closed one down there by accident. Basically, go to debug main board. You put in that 4050 memory address and you have to change the bit that you're looking at there to external RAM. But don't worry about it. All the details of what you need to do are in the thread over at Desert Island Fruits. And I kind of respectfully suggest that you have a read. I haven't read out the whole thing there by any stretch of the imagination. There's a nice little chat about it and some decent sort of information and reminiscing from Logopolis himself. So that surprised me. I'll be honest with you. This didn't go in the direction I was expecting to. A fully emptiable skill with prizes machine if you are skillful enough. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video and I'll catch up with you next time. But for now, as ever, it is goodbye.